Good morning, welcome all of you. So, this morning we are going to discuss a great topic that is on Satchit Ananda or Sachidananda. That is, otherwise, we can be able to visualize in this way existence, consciousness, force, and the bliss. So, this is the topic we are going to discuss on this glorious morning. It will be almost a beautiful topic to touch the soul. So this is the most important topic that must be understood in a very clear, crystal clear way. That is the most interesting topic, and that must be so understood in all the way, in all the parts of the being. So this morning we are going to discuss on the topic Satchitananda or Sachidananda. That is, in other way we are going to have it existence, consciousness, force, and again bliss. This is the topic of discussion for this morning. Here we have already known while discussing the seven worlds. We have discussed this term Satchit Ananda. We have already seen from Bhu, Bhuva, so that is physical, vital, and mental. In between, that is actually we know that Mahat or Vigyan or supramental world. Then the upper plane starts Sachidananda world. That is actually Jana, Tapaha, and the Satya. Anand world, world of Jit Tapas, and the world of Sat. That is the seven worlds we have discussed in, of course, in the previous discussion. So, lower worlds we have seen that physical, vital, and mental both. So, in between is the Mohat or Vigyan or supramental, and the Tapaloka or the world of Tapas, that is described as the beautiful way and as the to Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So now itself we are going to read something, and of course discuss something from the writings of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo quotes Sachidananda is the one with triple aspects. One with triple aspects. In the supreme, three are not the three, but only one. Existence is actually consciousness. Consciousness is bliss, and they are thus inseparable. Very interestingly, here in the course, they are inseparable. Existence is consciousness. Consciousness is bliss, and they are just inseparable. Only when not only inseparable, but they are also not distinct at all in the superior planes, where we are seeing the superior planes. What happens there? The manifestation they become triune. Although inseparable, one can be made more prominent and base or lead others. That is in the lower, in the upper hemisphere or in the superior planes. And simultaneously, what happens in the lower planes? Lower planes below, they are separable in appearance, though not in their secret reality, but outwardly or phenomenally without the others. One can exist without the other, so that it becomes aware of that what seems to be inconscient or painful existence. Here it seems to be separated, but thing is that originality is actually it is actually inseparable. Consciousness without Ananda. So against Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully that existence of this falsehood, of this death, of this pain, suffering. On commenting on that, Sri Aurobindo writes beautifully, indeed, without this separation in them in experience, pain and ignorance and falsehood and death, and what we call inconscience could not have manifested themselves. For the manifestation in the lower worlds, it was necessary. This separation was necessary. So now there could not have been this evolution of limited and suffering consciousness. Limited and suffering consciousness, it needed to be evolved. So that manifestation was the required out of the universal essence of matter. So upper plane there is no separation. Lower plane we see in superior or upper plane there is no distinction, no separation. In lower planes we can see the separation. For this separation in the lower planes, the requirement was there. This suffering, this death, this inconscience, falsehood, death, they needed to be evolved and emerged out of the science of matter, universal science of the matter. These limited and suffering consciousness needed to be one. That is the requirement, and that is the but thing is that they are inseparable. Of course, it is one, but it comes in three triple aspects. Against here in the course, Sachidananda is not itself the active consciousness, not an active consciousness to think to be remembered. It is simply pure existence, consciousness, and bliss, not an active consciousness. It is simply pure existence, consciousness, and bliss. By a truth consciousness, what actually really it meant the knowledge consciousness, which is immediately, inherently, and directly in aware of the truth. It is based on the truth. It is all aware of the truth. That is what the thing. So, truth manifestation and has not to seek for the mind, because the mind cannot be able to manifest or to reach the. It is Sachitananda. This concept is unreachable to the limits of the mind. Sachitananda is everywhere, beyond behind the manifestation, supporting it well behind everything that has been experienced, that is has been behind all the manifestation, and supporting all well as above, and it can be experienced below and supermind, below the supermind, that also. So everywhere, in wherever you go, there will be, you will find the touch and the presence and manifestation of the supermind. Even in the mind and the vital, it can also be experienced. Against here, when the course goes one step forward in a beautiful manner, and the close, the original substance of the spirit is pure existence. The original substance of the spirit is the pure existence, carrying on a pure self existence consciousness, for consciousness force and the pure self existence ananda. So, the original substance of the spirit is pure existence, carrying in it pure self existence consciousness, means or conscious force, consciousness force, and the pure self existence ananda. That purity is there. There is no clear plane beyond the Sachidananda. That already we have seen seven words. The last is the Sachidananda, Sachidananda, and there is beyond the thing is there. Sometimes people say there is little bit of confusion written behind regarding transcendent and the Sachidananda. So people say like that transcendent is something beyond Sachidananda, because the transcendent absolute is not only what to us is existence, but also what is also to us non-existence, both existence and non-existence. But there is really no such thing like non-existence. So the transcendent can be conceived as a transcendent Sat, transcendent Chit, and a transcendent Ananda. So there must not be any confusion between the transcendent and the, of course, Sachidananda. Again, Sri Aurobindo tries to quote and differentiate regarding the three principles and three states. What really Sat or pure existence. Sri Aurobindo quotes, you must remember what is the reflection of the higher worlds in the lower planes. Reflection, suppose the sun is on the top, its rays, and the moreover this reflection we can find on the floor, on either on the pool or on the water or on the mirror or on the plane surface, reflective surface, anywhere. Like this, the reflection of the higher worlds in the lower planes can easily be experienced as a supreme mm, for the stage of evolution that can be reflected in the stage of evolution that can be experienced. But superior Satchidananda, supreme Satchidananda is not a world, it is suprasonic, not confined, not limited. It is too vast, suprasonic, supracosmic, I am sorry. Here in the course it is supracosmic. Sat, Satyaloka. The world is of the highest scale connected with the universe. World of the highest scale connected with this consciousness. Substance, again, the two things are coming, that is actually still puzzling to our consciousness, to us actually. Substance and being are the same thing. Substance and being are the same thing, you must not be confused. In the creation they can be looked at on the two aspects of the spirit, that is substance and the being. Again, pure existence, or Sat, really Sri Aurobindo quotes it, is not something abstract, it is too real. It is not something abstract, but substantial and concrete, nothing abstract in it. Moreover, it is the descending into the body, the descending into the body that is quite natural to feel it materially. To feel it materially, only when it descends into the body, that the feeling must be there. Again, the thing comes that the Chit or consciousness. After the Sat, it comes the Chit or consciousness. Sri Aurobindo tries to quote that elements of the conditions of the consciousness can be classified like the elements of matter. Because Sri Aurobindo tries to explain in a very beautiful way, consciousness is not, to my experience, a phenomenon dependent upon the reactions of the personality of the forces of nature and amounting no more and seeing or interpretation of the reactions. Then what it is actually during the course sometimes most of the times the subjective personality itself only the formations of the consciousness which is a power inherent, not the activity of the temporary manifested personality but of the in the being self or the Purusha. Again, Steuben tries to quote, conscious is not only the power of the awareness of the self or thing, it is and has the dynamic and creative energy. In the consciousness, it is also simultaneously the awareness of the self, it is dynamic and the creative energy. It can determine its own reactions or abstain from the reactions, create the reaction or abstain from reaction. It can't be only answer to process, but create or put out from itself in the process. Consciousness is Chit, but also Chit Shakti. That is what's here in the verse. Consciousness usually identified with the mind. Very beautifully, Sri Aurobindo has quoted and explained. Consciousness is usually identified with the mind, but the mental consciousness is only the human range, which is no more exhausts all the possible ranges of the consciousness than human sight exhausts all the gradations of the color of the human hearing. Because mind, it has got its limitation, very difficult to know. Again, last finally we'll go for the very beautiful things. Interestingly, we'll see some of the definition expressions as defined by Sri Aurobindo on force, energy, power, and the Shakti. But there is a force we know that is the divine force, and everything he is behind all. So the movement, the dynamism force is required. So already we know when we want the doll to move, then likely we have to key it up. So we have to apply some force. There is a force behind each action acting in a manner appropriate to the action. It takes all these many forms of the necessary of the working, but one force. Different aspects it is coming, but thing is that it is the aspect of the one force. It is one force. So they again steer in the course beautifully on force. Force is the essential Shakti. Energy is the working, differentiating and different the things. Energy is the working drive of the force. It's active dynamism. Power is the capacity. Power is the capacity born of the force. So entire things coming from the force. Strength is energy consolidated and stored in the Adhara. Again, the divine force can act on any plane. It is not limited to the supramental force. The supramental is only one aspect of the power of the divine. So it can work anywhere. While considering and explaining the last force, that is Ananda, Ananda is a thing to be felt. Very beautifully, nice thing, nice observation. Ananda is a thing to be felt, and it can't be defined except negatively. That is not mere joy. Sometimes we feel joy is Ananda, but it's not like this, but something much more deep and essential. Joy is only the concern to the superficial or outside. Upanishad statement, there is ether, the Ananda in which all breathe and move, all breathe and move with the Ananda. If it were not there, none would breathe or live. Finally, why should the joy of creation be unyogic? It is yogic. Every creator feels the joy of creation, including the divine creator. Thank you.